This week in art, we're going to be talking about the art of Andy Goldsworthy. And I wanted to just start by taking a look at some pieces of art that Andy has created. So here you can see an image of some art that was created using branches and the reflection in a lake. Here's a piece that he created using different colored leaves in the fall and arranging them on the forest floor. And here's a very similar image, but instead of using leaves, he's used rocks that he's gathered with gradations of sort of gray and white and blue to create a sort of similar look, but with different materials. And here's one, again, using leaves and different colored leaves that he's collected in the fall to create almost the look of a glowing tree trunk, which I just think is really beautiful. So why Andy Goldsworthy? Well, last week we learned about pop art, and pop art is really all about using art to explore popular culture. So things like celebrities, television, movies, music, advertisements. And so this week I thought we would contrast that with something that was really different. And I couldn't think of anything better than by thinking about Andy Goldsworthy, because his art is all about using nature and using natural found materials to create art. So rather than things made by people, he's really interested in the natural world and using art as a way to explore and connect with the natural world. Here's another image of a piece created by Andy. So who is he? He's a famous sculptor from Scotland. Now, his sculptures might not be what you would think about when you think about sculptures. Often we think about people using clay or carving. But as you've seen, Andy makes his sculptures out of found material. So that means things that he has found in nature and that he's arranged or manipulated to create a piece of art. And really the best word for it is sculpture, although sometimes they seem bigger than that to me. Some of these sculptures are meant to last a long time. He's created pieces of artwork that are actually in museums, and so they're meant to have many people come through and look at them, whereas others are only meant to last a short time. For example, ones that he's created in water or created by balancing rocks. And so in order to share these pieces, and often some of the ones that he creates in nature are in locations that people wouldn't come by very often. So as part of that, he photographs his sculptures in order to share them with others. In order to create his art, he's often out in the forest or in a marsh or in a field for hours and hours and hours at a time in often quite wet or cold conditions. He also does a lot of work with ice and snow and winter materials. But he feels a really strong connection and relationship with the natural world, and that's really what his artwork is exploring. And so sometimes being out in those natural elements and really feeling them by being uncomfortable is part of the process. So here's an example of a piece that he created using ice. So I'd like you to watch a short video of an interview with Andy Goldsworthy just to get a better sense of him and his connection with his art. And then this week, we're going to have 2 tasks that you can choose from. So the first one is that you could create an Andy Goldsworthy inspired sculpture. So I want you to create a sculpture inspired by the work of Andy Goldsworthy. You could use any natural materials that you can find: rocks, twigs, leaves, sand, dirt. And then I want you to take a picture of that sculpture and share it with me. You can either email it to me, post it on OneNote, or if there's some other way you'd like to share it, just let me know. And here's an example that I created in my backyard with some rocks, different types of rocks, and some leaves that I found just in my yard and around my street. So it doesn't have to be something that's extremely elaborate, but something that's using natural materials to create some sort of interesting piece of work to look at. And if you can't do that, or you're not interested in doing that, the other option is to reflect on Andy Goldsworthy's artwork. So for this option, in OneNote, you can answer the following questions. So first, I'd like you to choose a sculpture created by Andy Goldsworthy. So remember, these don't always look like sculptures. It might be leaves laid out in an interesting way or something made with twigs, but choose a picture of something that Andy has created, and you can either copy and paste it in OneNote, or if you can't do that, then just describe the sculpture sculpture in a sentence or two to me. I'd like you to explain to me why you like this sculpture. Why did you pick it out of all the pieces that Andy has created? Describe how you think it was made, what that process would have looked like or been like for Andy to create it. And then finally, Andy Goldsworthy has created a book of his photography, and he's called this book A Collaboration with Nature. So I'd like you to think about why you think he called the book this title, A Collaboration with Nature. What do you think that means to him? Okay, good luck with your work. I'm really excited to see what you come up with. As always, I really enjoy what you share with me, and always I'll make sure that I reply to whatever you've shared with me in OneNote or through email. And oh, and one other thing, I know that the Students Council at CD Howe is doing a creative art challenge this week, and actually last week they posted some of the Bamomo pictures that you guys created, and so this would be a great way to submit. You could create something for this assignment and then also submit it to the school. All right, good work. Looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with.